Saving Cranes by Brenda Isovoli. It's a strange, loud call that only one bird makes. Once there were almost none of these birds left, and scientists wanted to save them. It wasn't easy, but people thought these special birds were worth a lot of trouble. The bird's trumpet-like whoop is so loud that it can be heard more than a mile away. What is the name of this special bird? Did you guess the name? It's the whooping crane. The whooping crane's funny name comes from its loud, trumpeting whoop, whoop. But a whooping crane can be quiet too. It walks silently in swampy water on tall, thin legs until, splash, its pointy beak snaps up a shiny fish. It's right at home in wetlands. Grasshopper, frog. Whooping cranes eat fish, frogs, crabs, seeds, berries, and insects. Why were the whooping cranes in trouble? The cranes were in big trouble. They had been hunted so much that not many birds were left. Fewer cranes meant fewer and fewer eggs were being laid, so fewer and fewer chicks were hatching, and that could mean the end of all whooping cranes forever. So scientists had to learn how to save them. Once there were only about this many whooping cranes left in the wild. What did the scientists have to learn? Scientists had to learn how cranes raise their chicks. They saw that the mom lays her eggs in the spring, and both parents raise them all summer. In the fall, something amazing happens. They all fly south for the winter. But not enough cranes were taking the long trip. Scientists had to act fast. They decided to raise baby cranes themselves. Crane timeline. May, lay eggs. June, eggs hatch. July, chicks grow. August, full grown. September, fly south. Whooping cranes are caring parents. How could scientists raise baby whooping cranes? The scientists pretended to be whooping cranes. They made a puppet costume that looked like a crane. When chicks hatched, the first thing they saw was a crane puppet. The puppet looked like a mom, so the chicks thought it really was their mom, and that's just what the scientists wanted. The chicks followed the puppet everywhere it went. Crane costume, crane puppet, whooping crane. What did the puppet do with the chicks? The puppet took care of the chicks just like a mom. But there was one big problem. The chicks needed to learn how to fly south. If they didn't, the crane babies would never live through the cold winter. Where whooping crane flocks fly south. Whooping cranes live in the north during the spring and summer. They fly south in the fall to warm places for winter. Who would teach the chicks to fly south? A puppet mom had to teach the chicks how to fly south for the winter. So a scientist in the crane costume flew south in a very slow, tiny plane. And the chicks followed. It worked. Almost all survived the trip. It took almost 3 months to fly south with the flock. And in the spring, something wonderful happened. The new flock of birds flew home all on their own. Did the whooping cranes survive? Over time, that little flock of whooping cranes grew. Today, there are more than 400 birds in the wild, and scientists agree They were worth all the trouble. The acknowledgement at the end of the book reads like this. The whooping cranes in this story were saved by the work of scientists from many groups. These groups included the International Crane Foundation, Operation Migration, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Their goal is to help cranes survive in the wild by protecting where they live and fly. You can find out more about this at www.savingcranes.org. I hope you enjoyed the book.